Hi, it's Josie, and today I'd like to talk to you about dressage whips. I'd like to talk to you about how we use it, when to use it, and then I'm going to show you how I use my whip to help Rebel do a better down transition. And today I'm going to do a down transition from a trot to a walk with him because he likes to fall on his forehand, and I'll show you how I fix that. I'm going to tell you how to use your whip now. There's a lot of debate about the length your whip should be. For me, as long as I can access this area, sorry, I'm going to show you with my heel, behind my leg, that's the length I want the whip to be. When do I use my whip? I use my whip when my soft aids have not been answered by my horse. So then I can just give him a backup. You do not take your hand off the rein and hit the horse. That's not what it's there for. And if you have to do that, I just want you to highlight in your mind that you probably got a little bit frustrated then. That's not how we train horses. The hardest bit of training a horse is learning to control yourself, trust me. So how you want to use it is, if I want him to engage his hind leg a little more, I will use the whip behind the leg because my leg is connected to his hind leg in an aid group. And so I access that with the whip. So what you do is, when you're riding, you don't want to take your hand off and hit the horse. You literally just flick and that touched his side then, okay? So I flicked the whip, hit my leg, bent around, touched him in the side and came off. So when you're choosing a whip, you need a whip with a little bit of flex in it. Okay, you don't want a really stiff whip, it won't work. And you don't want a really bendy whip because then you're inadvertently touching the horse when you don't mean to quite often when you're riding and it's flicking. So that's how you use your whip. You don't take it off, you don't belt your horse, it's just a touch to help him to know to bring that hind leg forward. That's what it's actually for, to help him with using his hind leg better. So you always use your seat and then your legs. So your aids should go seat first, then leg, then whip. And you stop when you get to the aid that asks the horse to go. Initially, you might need to use all three. But as your horse becomes more sensitive to you, you really should be able to get him to move just off a seat aid. Rebel, particularly when he's not warmed up, which he's not at the moment, will tend to do a transition on the forehand. He'll fall on his face basically and make the reins very heavy for me. So how do I use the whip? What I will do is I'll give him a little half halt and warn him that we're about to do something. And then as we come into the transition down from the trot to the walk, 1 to 3 strides, I'll just give him a little tap with the whip to ask him to bring the inside hind leg a little bit more through for me. If you're wondering why I've picked on that hind leg, you need to go and watch my trot diagonals video because that will explain why we want to access the inside hind leg. Now I'd like to show you how I use it to help Rebel with a better down transition. You do need to know a little bit about how the horse moves, because the reality of it is you should be using your whip in the best timing to allow the horse to do the job you're asking, which is setting him up for success. So what I want him to do when I do a down transition is to step a little more under himself. I'll see if I can just do a normal one that he wants to do. You can see he fell down on his face then. If you couldn't see it, I could feel it. So what I'm going to do with my whip is I'm going to touch him with it behind my leg as we do the down transition, as his inside hind leg is coming off the ground, because I want that hind leg to step a little further underneath him. And the only time I have a chance the only time he has a chance to do that, is when that hind leg is coming off the ground and starting to step forward. So if you know anything about the footfalls, that would be when I'm starting to rise out of the saddle. And I sit, if I'm on the correct diagonal that is, that hind leg is on the ground. As I come up, he's stepping forward, pushing off of it. So I do a down transition and I touch him with the whip as I come up, or as he comes forward. I sat then, but I know the forward feeling in my pelvis. So I'm going to just say now when I use the whip, okay? Now. Much better transition. Much better balanced and not on his forehand. And all I did was tap, tap, tap with the whip to ask him to bring that hind leg through. Okay. So, leg on as I've hit the top of my ride. Yes, yes, yes. Nice transition, nice transition. Oh boy. I hope that gives you a little bit of understanding how you can use your whip. Thanks for watching, guys.